So good morning, and thank you for joining us. My name is Courtney Yaki, and I'm with the F&M Regional Growth Alliance, and here today representing the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois. This week is National Apprenticeship Week. In recognition of this, we are hosting an informational webinar on registered apprenticeships titled Growing Your Workforce, the Power of Apprenticeships. We have an excellent presentation stored for you today. We'll discuss what an apprenticeship is, cover employer and apprentice benefits, along with the makeup of a registered apprenticeship. I'm joined today by two apprenticeship experts, Don Bennett, the WIOA Business Services and Apprenticeship Lead Coordinator for CEFS Economic Opportunity Corp., and Lisa Alsop, Apprenticeship Coordinator at Lakeland College. So before we get started, you might ask yourself, what is the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois? Well, we are a six-county regional collaboration who originated from working through a small business community navigator grant through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. The six partners consist of Coles Together, Rana Sage, Lori Miner with the Sullivan, Illinois Chamber and Economic Development, Risa Shaner with the Crawford County Development Association, Laura Pierce with the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce, and just recently joined us from Clark County as well, Tom Dudahy from the City of Casey. Don't have the City of Casey's logo off to the side there, but we'll get you added on there, Tom. And then Bob Colvin and Freddie Schmeddy with the Paris Economic Development Corporation. And then myself, Courtney Yaki with the F&M Regional Growth Alliance. Well, this group is charged with professional outreach and technical assistance for local, state, and federal programs. Our mission is to ensure that small businesses in our region are competitive and applying for necessary growth, necessary resources, and our goal is to position for success and to accelerate business recovery and growth. If you look off to the side of your screen, you'll see where the Business Navigator Alliance is located. Today's webinar, very excited here, is kind of a revitalization of a series of business webinars that we had previously hosted each month. These webinars are typically scheduled for the last Thursday of each month, so please mark your calendars and visit www.ilbusinessnavigators.com to sign up for our newsletter to stay informed. We also host various outreach events, office hours, and offer one-on-one technical assistance. Again, visit IL Business Navigators, that's navigators with an S, to learn more. We will post a recording. We will post a copy of the recording from today's presentation and additional supportive material on the website as well. If you have any questions during the chat, please put them, or during the presentation, please put them over in the chat, and we will address those when we hit the Q&A session of today's webinar. So joining me today, and who's going to educate us, is Don Bennett and Lisa Alsop. Don is the Business Services and Apprenticeship Lead Coordinator at CFS Economic Opportunity Corporation, headquartered in Effingham, Illinois. She joined CEFS in October 2024 and is responsible for managing grant-funded initiatives under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or commonly known as WIOA, which services 13 counties across Illinois. Don's primary focus is connecting employers with training providers to assist in upskilling their incumbent workforce. She works closely with local businesses to identify skill gaps and facilitate access to relevant training programs that enhances employees' capabilities, helping businesses remain competitive and grow. Through these efforts, Don contributes to workforce development that strengthens both individual careers and regional economies. Don holds a Bachelor's of Science in Organizational Development and began her graduate study in talent development in the spring of 2025. Her academic background, combined with her hands-on experience, enables her to bring a strategic and innovative approach to workforce development. And then we also have Lisa Alsop. Lisa is the Apprenticeship Coordinator at Lakeland College, where she has supported the development and growth of apprenticeship programs for the past year. She is also an active apprentice in the occupation of Apprenticeship Training and Development Specialist, giving her a unique, firsthand perspective of apprenticeship experience. Lisa is passionate about workforce development and sharing the apprenticeship model with business partners and prospective apprentices. She finds the greatest satisfaction in building connections that create meaningful benefits for employers, apprentices, and the communities that they serve. Lisa and Don are going to split today's presentation. I'm going to jump in there a little bit too as well. I believe, Don, we have you up first. Are you prepared to go?
Yes, thank you, Courtney. I really appreciate that. Next slide, please. All right, what is an apprenticeship? An apprenticeship is an employer-driven workforce strategy helping individuals connect to a career pathway while using a work-based learning model. Apprentices benefit from this earn while you learn model by working and being paid while they complete their training. While apprentices build essential skills, employers also benefit by fostering a future workforce and creating a diverse and skilled talent pipeline. But most importantly, employers train apprentices within their organization and shape their skills and work habits to align with company values and culture. Next slide, please. Apprenticeship programs allow employers to develop a diverse and skilled workforce through customizable training options. Many industries face skill shortages in specific areas. Apprenticeships provide a solution by allowing employers to bridge these gaps by training individuals directly. By offering apprenticeships, employers can attract motivated individuals who may not have formal qualifications but possess a strong desire to learn and contribute. These programs also create a pipeline of talented individuals who are trained according to their specific industry requirements. By training workers within their own organization, employers can shape their skills and work habits to align with company values and culture. These programs have shown to reduce turnover, boost employee retention, increase productivity, and improve the bottom line. Plus, apprenticeship programs come with attractive tax credits and other incentives, which we'll be talking about later. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, this slide really gets to the why behind apprenticeship programs by explaining why they're so beneficial for our apprentices. What we consistently see is that employers who invest in structured apprenticeship programs don't just hire their talent, they keep it. So let me briefly walk through what makes this happen. First, there's one-on-one mentorship. Apprentices aren't left to figure things out on their own. They're supported both on the job and in the classroom, and that connection can build confidence and loyalty. Second, a debt-free education. This is huge. Employees can gain valuable accredited training without taking on student loan debt, which removes a major barrier and increases commitment to the employer. Third, there's a direct wage progression that's tied to skills. So as the apprentice learns and demonstrates competencies, they see real tangible increases in pay. That immediate reward can keep them engaged and motivated. Then there's also transparency. Apprentices know what's expected of them and how they can grow, including when and how their wages will increase. And that clarity can build trust. Another piece is upskilling entry-level workers. So instead of constantly hiring externally, employers are growing their own talent pipeline from within. Ultimately, this leads to long-term career opportunities, not just jobs, but careers, and that's a major factor in retention. All of these things that we just talked about, they're not extra add-ons, but they're already built into a registered apprenticeship program. So when you implement one, you're not starting from scratch. You're leveraging a proven framework. More importantly, you're making a very clear statement as an organization that you are willing to invest in your most important asset, and that's your people. And that kind of investment doesn't just improve your retention, it strengthens your entire workforce. Next slide.
All right, and I'm going to jump in here on the community benefits from apprenticeship program. But first and foremost, these programs don't just benefit individual workers, they strengthen the entire community. They do this by assisting in building a more educated and highly skilled local workforce, which most significantly is critical for long-term growth. For employers, apprenticeships make it easier to maintain a strong talent pool in your community. It helps increase retention rates and battles against losing workers to potentially larger markets. They also support workforce diversification. They bring in people from different backgrounds and expands opportunities. Apprenticeships really near dear to my heart. I really love working with companies to start implementing them, and I believe there's a lot of value add, not just to the employer and the workers, but the community as a whole. I mean, these programs really create a real pathway for individuals to gain valuable hands-on skills while earning a paycheck. I mean, it's a true earn and learn model. This kind of access it helps enhance social mobility by giving people more of a chance to build stable careers. And by social mobility, I mean, I'm talking about giving people a way to build skills, earn income, and advance into stable, well-paying careers. When a community has a trained workforce, it becomes more attractive to new and expanding businesses. I'm a huge component of business retention expansion. We got to grow our existing businesses and keep working with them, and do just how that helps build the community as a whole. And apprenticeships helps to lead to a stronger local economy with higher morale and helps to increase that sense of community. Most certainly, there's a lot of benefits to having a strong workforce within your community, providing people with opportunities, giving the tools and resources that they need to be able to grow individually, and helping our employers continue to grow by being productive employees, and to cutting down on that overall learning curve once you enter into a place of employment, and really spelled out the things that you're going to do and how that employer is invested in you, and ultimately. Apprenticeships play a key role in reducing unemployment and again creating that sustainable economic momentum. And so try not to lay it on too thick, stand on a soapbox too long. Appreciate the opportunity to present a little bit of this. Most certainly a lot of benefits to the community from apprenticeships.
Okay, so what makes a registered apprenticeship? No matter the industry or occupation, every registered apprenticeship is built around a core set of elements. So these are the pieces that ensure consistency, quality, and real outcomes both the employer and the apprentice can benefit from. So we want to think of these as building blocks of a successful program. And what's important is that these elements aren't complicated, but they are intentional. Each one plays a role in ensuring the apprentice gains the right skills, they are supported along the way, and ultimately become highly competitive employees. So let's walk through those 5 key elements here. First and foremost, it's industry-led. So these programs are built with direct input from the employer. So apprentices will learn the exact skills the industry are looking for right now, and it keeps that training relevant and aligned with the real workforce needs. Next, it's that structured on-the-job learning and mentorship. So again, they're not alone. They're paired with experienced mentors who can guide them step by step. The training is structured, hands-on, and it's designed to set them up for long-term success. Next is that supplemental education or classroom instruction. So along with the on-the-job training, apprentices get in classroom instruction that ties directly into the skills they're learning. It's tailored to the employer's needs, and it helps reinforce everything that they're practicing at work. Next, one of the biggest perks is that the apprentice earns a paycheck from day one. They are your employee, and as they learn more, they become more productive, their wages will increase. And then at the end, the apprentice will earn a nationally recognized credential that will travel with them, and it's proof of their skills, and it opens the doors across that industry. So then on the right-hand side, that little box there, apprenticeships are often confused with unpaid internships in a few ways that they differ are, first off, they're not an unpaid internship. The apprentice, again, is the employee from day one. They're earning a wage while they're learning, and that wage grows as their skills develop. Second, this is not a quick fix for hiring challenges. So apprenticeships are a long-term workforce strategy, and they're about building a reliable pipeline of skilled employees. So not just filling those immediate gaps. And then finally, they're not fully funded by the public sector. While there can be grants or funding opportunities to support parts of the program, employers are making a real investment, especially in the wages, mentorship, and training. Next slide. So program flexibility. One of the biggest strengths of an apprenticeship program is the flexibility. It's not a one-size-fits-all model, and you can really design it to meet the specific needs of your organization and your workforce. For example, programs can be structured in a couple of different ways. First, there's time-based, and that's when the apprentice requires a set amount of hours in training and instruction. Competency-based is where advancements tied to the mastering of specific skills, or the hybrid approach, which blends the both of those. You also have flexibility in how the training is delivered. So the traditional model involves equal parts instruction and on-the-job training throughout the program. The front-loaded model puts more classroom training at the beginning to build a strong foundation. An example of that would be our CNA program. So the CNA will have to learn the in-classroom instruction and then get their certification before they can do a lot of those on-the-job competencies. So that's a really good example of front-loaded. And then the segmented model breaks down training into focused chunks that align with specific skills or roles. So basically the takeaway here is that you're not being asked to fit into a rigid structure. The apprenticeship program is designed to fit the employer, your operations, your staffing needs, and how you want to grow your talent. Next slide. And one of the most common questions that we hear is, can the apprenticeship work for our specific roles? And the answer is very likely yes. Currently, they have over 1,300 occupations that are already approved by the Department of Labor for registered apprenticeships. So this model isn't limited to just the trades anymore. It spans healthcare, IT, business services, advanced manufacturing, education, and more. And if you're curious about a specific role, you can actually explore that list at apprenticeship.gov. Just about any skilled role in your occupation can be built into an apprenticeship, as long as there's a structured way to train and develop the skills. And that's where the partnership comes in. So when you're working with a community college, such as Lakeland, we provide the related training instruction piece. So if we already have the coursework that aligns with your skills that you need for your employees, we can plug that into an apprenticeship framework. Next slide.
Thank you, Lisa. So we're going to talk about the incentives and grant funds. So implementing a registered apprenticeship program is far more affordable and easier than employers realize. With the right partnerships in place, such as Lakeland, much of the upfront and ongoing costs can be significantly reduced or even fully offset, making apprenticeships a smart, long-term investment in workforce development. Local support is available through my organization, Alea 23, which offers up a $20,000 per year per company grant incentive to help cover the cost associated with related training instruction, including tuition, books, materials, and fees. In addition, we provide a one-time incentive specifically designed to support businesses launching an apprenticeship program for the first time. Or employers can choose a generous tax credit of $3,500 per apprentice, allowing businesses to recoup a substantial portion of their investment. An additional $1,500 tax credit may also be available for apprentices who live in underserved areas or for businesses operating within those Illinois communities, increasing the total potential benefit to $5,000 per apprentice. When combined, these local and state resources dramatically reduce the financial burden of building a skilled, loyal workforce through apprenticeship. For more information on Illinois apprenticeship tax credits, please visit dceo.illinois.gov. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about the numbers, because when it comes to apprenticeships, the data really speaks for itself. So in a national study of registered apprenticeship programs, researchers found that the median return on investment of apprentice productivity was 44.3%. That means for every $100 an employer invests in apprenticeship programs, they're seeing $144.30 back in productivity gains alone. That's not a break even, that's a genuine profit of your workforce investment. And think about where the ROI comes from. It's not just one thing, it's the compounding effect of several factors working together. One, it reduces turnover costs. Hiring and onboarding a new employee can cost anywhere from 50 to 200% of their annual salary. Apprenticeships dramatically cut that cycle. Less downtime. Apprentices are trained specifically to your operations, so they're productive faster and they make fewer costly mistakes as they develop. 3, greater employee loyalty. When you invest in people, they invest back in you. Apprentices feel valued, and that translates to stronger commitment and a better work culture. And 4, higher overall productivity. You're building workers who understand your systems, your standards, and your expectations from day one. Now let's look at the retention number. 93% of apprentices stay with their employers after completing a program. Think about that for a moment. 93%. In most industries, average annual turnover rates are between 20 and 30%. Some sectors like hospitality and retail see even higher rates. So 93% of retention is extraordinary. What that tells us is that apprenticeships doesn't just fill a position, it builds a long-term relationship with the employer and the employee. These are people who feel connected to the organization because they grew within it. How does your ROI and retention rate stack up against these numbers? If you're spending more on hiring and losing talent faster than you'd like, apprenticeships could be a strategy that changes the equation for you. The bottom line is this: apprenticeship is not just a training program, it's a proven business strategy with measurable financial returns and real long-term impact on your workforce stability. Next slide, please.
Okay. So getting started with a registered apprenticeship program is much more straightforward than many people expect. And we really break it down into these 4 simple steps. First, it just starts with a conversation. Reach out to your LWIA 23, to Dawn and her team, or you can reach out to us here at Lakeland College. And we just start that conversation where we really understand your workforce needs, your goals, and which roles might be a good fit for an apprenticeship program. Next, you don't have to do this alone. So Lakeland College can serve as the program sponsor, which means we can help guide you through the design process, everything from outlining the training to making sure that it meets the Department of Labor standards. Then third, we're going to look at funding and initiatives. LWIA 23 can help identify those available resources to offset costs, whether that's related to training, supportive services, or other workforce funding opportunities. And then finally, once everything's in place, we launch your program. So at that point, you're bringing in apprentices, you're training them, and you're really starting to build that long-term talent pipeline. So while it may sound a little complex at first, you're really being supported every step of the way. We'll walk alongside of you from that first conversation all the way to when we're announcing you have a registered apprenticeship program. Next slide.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great presentation. Thank you for walking us through all the steps and how to get something set up here for apprenticeship and to going through the benefits and really what was very beneficial was what is an apprenticeship and how does it differ from an internship? So very much enjoyed hearing that. A big heartfelt thank you to Dawn and Lisa for that. At this time of the presentation, the webinar here, we're going to enter in the Q&A session. So if you got any questions, please throw them off to the side. I've got a few questions myself that we're going to dive into and hopefully getting a good discussion here. And Dave, I see one on here that will get us started off. And do want to apologize, people, if they're looking at the chat at the very beginning. Looked like we had a bot on there and was just getting overloaded with kind of related questions, but not so much related to as well. And so if you threw a question in early, I tried to sift back through it. Please throw them back in there again. I don't want to miss them, but we'll get started here. So Dave had a question here. Can incentives and grants be applied to current programs, or does it need to be applied prior to the start of the program? So Dawn or Lisa or Bonnie, whoever
I'll
wants
go
to
ahead and
take
take
that one.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Dave. Yes. So what we need to do is develop an a contract to determine what your reimbursement would be, because the grant that is attached to the apprenticeships to pay for that, it is a reimbursement. So if it is a long term, we would reimburse after every semester, and if it's a shorter term, then we would reimburse after the end of the training program.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you for that. And next one, I'll go over to Lisa real quick. Lisa, one of the last things that you presented on was the 4 steps in developing a registered apprenticeship. And just can you dive in that a little more on how long does it actually take to set up and launch a program?
Good question. So really, I feel like I'm out there planting seeds, right? So you have the discussions with employers and they get excited about it and then might not circle back around until the right people are involved. So it really depends on the employer. If they are ready to go, we have stood up a program in as little as 2 weeks. So we just knock it out of the park. I have a really great Department of Labor partner. He's an apprenticeship training representative. He looks over everything that we've put together. He makes sure that it fits like the Department of Labor standards, because we want to make sure that these are structured and that credential at the end means something. And then he will sign off on it as a registered program. And then we'll start helping that employer identify apprentices. So do they want to pull an apprentice from, within their workforce already and skill somebody up? I love it when that happens. They've already identified that they're a great worker, right? And they're like, let's skill them up. And so, or they don't have anybody in mind. So we might look at our student population in those programs and say, would anyone like to interview for an apprenticeship program? And then we'll put them in touch with the employer. So it can be as quick as the employer's ready to go.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And we did have a question come in of, can an apprenticeship be designed for, is it just incumbent workers, or it said existing workers, but incumbent workers as well as new hires? And you covered that. You just want to touch on it, reinforce that real quick?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I love about apprenticeship programs. This workforce model can meet individuals where they're at. It doesn't matter, if you're a junior, senior in high school, we've had those individuals start in an apprenticeship program. Or if you're in your 40s and 50s, you never even got your GED or your high school diploma, but you've been working in the workforce, your employer identified you as a valuable worker, and they have enrolled you in an apprenticeship program. So it really doesn't matter where you're at. You can jump into this program.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And Don, I seen that, and you noted it during the presentation. I seen that you have it in the chat here as well for the tax credit information to who contact. And can you just walk through that real quickly? The tax credit did have a question come in about the difference between WIOA funding and the tax credit, and they interchange or can't interchange, and you covered that. Can you reinforce that and then just note who to contact?
Absolutely. Yes. So the tax credit would be used in lieu of the grant funding. And a lot of times, because community colleges are so affordable, it makes sense to get the flat dollar tax credit. But you do have to ask someone else for help because it's a little over my head, unfortunately. So if you are curious about that, Sergio Talavera at Decchio, he is the apprenticeship tax credit manager, and his phone number is 217-720-8743.
Thank you, Don. Much appreciate that. And we'll stay with you for apprenticeship and thinking of wages here. Typically, how does an apprenticeship wage compare to market wages over time, or the employer wages? Any differences there?
Lisa, wage schedule?
Or Lisa, if you want to jump on that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when we sit down with the employer to develop their occupation role, and we look at those wages. And since with an apprenticeship, you're pulling in usually an entry-level individual, right? They don't have the skill sets of a 2-year experienced person. So we're looking at kind of what is your entry-level wage for this particular occupation. A lot of times we'll do a labor market research to say, let's make sure that we're kind of on target with our area. And then we'll have suggestions for the employer on where to start. Then as they progress, and you can set those progressions however you want, maybe after a semester or after you have established so many competencies. So we talk about that with the employer, but we help them set those wage increases. So if you think about at the end of their apprenticeship program, they've been working, getting a paycheck, getting wage increases, their education has been covered, and they're not going into student loan debt. So over time, if you think about that in comparison with their peers who go to college first, get a lot of student loan debt, then maybe go to work, they're going to be ahead of the game. I think apprenticeship.gov has a number out there of in the 300,000 range over a lifetime. The apprentice might have a $300,000 lifetime gain over starting this program versus the traditional route.
Wow, 300,000 is a lot, especially over for the lifetime there. I mean, that's buying you a house and a nice boat, baby, too. Let's go. Well, let's stay with that notion as well. The learn and earn model, and most certainly you talked on the earn side. What about the learn side? Is this a certificate? Is it a degree? What's the end result here from an educational standpoint?
Another great question. So it can be whatever meets the needs of the employer when we're building that program. So we, of course, offer at Lakeland, we offer certificate programs, we offer degree programs, and then you can just take courses that will stack up maybe in the future for credentials or credit. So some of our apprenticeship programs, we have just established that there's 5 or 6 courses that the apprentice needs to meet the competencies for that employer. So that apprentice is going to get the national credential, but they're not going to get any type of certificate or degree from the college. Some of ours, employer partners, want their apprentices to end up with a certificate. So they're going to have, most of our certificates are 1 year. So the coursework, they can get it done in a year. They'll have a certificate from the community college plus the national credential. And then other employer partners are saying, no, we want to support them in the full associate's degree. So they'll support the apprentice getting that whole degree. So they'll walk away with the degree and the national credential.
Perfect. Now, say an apprentice is just getting the certificate, but they want to continue that education. You want to dive into that a little more, just maybe a subset of an explanation there.
Yeah, so really it would be up to them if they wanted to get that. They got so far, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I already have so many credits towards this certificate. I want to finish this up. They can do that on their own, of course, just work around their schedule, but there's nothing that says they can't come back at any time and finish up that, what they've already earned, those credits they've already earned.
Perfect. Excellent answers to the questions. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. Somebody just text me one. So throw them in the chat. We'll keep them organized that way. I don't want to miss any of these here. But one that just came in was about screening. And so Lakeland College or maybe CFS, LWIA 23 as a whole, do you guys assist with screening, that recruitment and that candidate? And I'm assuming this is more of recruitment into or that external pipeline of somebody coming into a place of employment versus that incumbent worker, but it may apply to that as well. Anyone want to tackle that one?
I think we both.
I know.
Yeah,
just back and forth it.
Yeah.
we both help with recruitment. So we have a program side that works with individuals. And if that individual is interested in apprenticeship, we can definitely work with them because we have those relationships with those businesses. So we can help kind of make that connection and then develop that apprenticeship if necessary.
Perfect,
And then
perfect,
we
perfect.
kind of help like with the recruitment side as well. So as a part of the standards, when we're building the apprenticeship program, we build in kind of, hey, what does this look like for the apprentice? What do they have to have? What are the minimum requirements? So we'll kind of look at that, and then we'll help feed if the employer needs assistance, we'll help feed them some potential apprentices to interview. So currently, I do have a program that has an opening, and we have recommended 4 different types of potential individuals for this program.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so the employer is setting up those interviews. I volunteered to be there if they need me to, but they'll be the ones who select then who they're going to support as an apprentice.
So assistance as needed. I
Yep.
love it.
Mhm.
Good
Absolutely.
customer service that way. Well,
Absolutely.
these webinars, I mean, the Business Navigator Alliance, South Central, Southeastern Illinois, obviously a little geographical for the state of Illinois, but we get people that join these webinars with us from all over the state, from other states as well. People can review the recording anytime, and just curious, you guys are immediately local here. Dawn, 13 county regions serving for South Central, Southeastern Illinois, a little larger territory for Lakeland College, but still the overlap the same area. What if somebody is listening to this and they're not from here? What can they do?
If they would like to go to the Illinois WorkNet, they can find their local LWIA. And if they wanted to contact us, if they didn't understand where their local community college was, then we can help them connect with that as well.
Perfect, 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 perfect. And then if somebody is interested, I'm assuming this one would be towards the employer, but I guess the same difference with a prospecting apprenticeship as well, or apprentice. But for that first initial consultation with you guys, what information should they bring? What should they be prepped for to have a productive conversation on that first time?
I
With
would
that,
say,
it would just
yeah, I
go
would say
ahead.
if you're looking to build an apprenticeship program with, and you're like, what occupations in my, you know, network would be good for an apprenticeship program? I would just say for that first meeting, it's just a kind of tossing questions back and forth. We'll ask you some questions that will get you down into the nitty-gritty of it, but you really don't have to be prepared. I would say the right person at the table is the most important. So somebody who can actually make those decisions on our training dollars,
Yeah,
and do we want to do this, and can we do this? And so that you're not having meeting, and then you finally get to the right person. So just having the right people at the table in the beginning, I think
yeah.
that's why Dawn and I usually go together, as we're starting to create something so that we can answer all those questions up front.
Perfect,
Yes.
perfect, perfect. So
Yeah.
definitely cut down on that timeline and having the right people there. And if you don't, and the boss said, "Hey, go figure this out," gather the info, come back, and then drag them in. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
it. I
Make it
love it.
work.
What about the apprentice? Somebody that is interested in doing an apprenticeship. What should they have a prep for? We'll jump to the other side of the table.
Yeah, I don't think there's any prep. I get outreach all the time. Actually, we had a really incredible breakfast event this week.
Yep.
And from that, somebody on Facebook reached out and said, "Hey, I want to learn more about your apprenticeship programs. I'm looking for this type of program." And so it can come from anywhere. And I've reached out to him. We'll have a conversation. We'll see where he's at in life and what his goals are, and try to make that connection for him. That you don't have to, it's not rocket science. You don't have to be
Awesome.
prepared. Yeah.
Yep. Just be willing.
Just be
Yes.
willing.
Just will.
Yes.
Got to make a phone call or reach out with a message of some sort.
Yes.
That's right. We'll take care of the rest. Yep. That's
I
right.
love it. I love it. I love it. So, just another question here. And if you got anything pending, throw it in the chat. We'll make sure to get it in there. And I try to review and see if we had any more in there. But the thing that everybody loves and hates all at the same time, and probably more on the later end of that one. What about reporting? what are we getting into from a reporting standpoint? And everybody's smiling. Yeah, the love to hate and hate to love, right? Can
Can
you
I
guys
answer this
detail a
one?
little bit? Yeah, jump in there, Bonnie.
We do it all for you.
Hey, even better. Let's repeat that.
We do all of the reporting for you. I will also say this, Lisa handles the side of the house that is called Rapids, which is the Department of Labor's system where we register programs and register apprentices. She contacts the business partners to get the information that we need to put into the system, but we handle all of the paperwork side of that. Dawn has it a little bit harder because she has to work within a different system that's at the state level, which is more related to the financial reporting and the demographics. But Dawn and CEFS do all of the reporting on that. So the idea behind this is that we make it as light of a lift for our employers as possible. So we manage all of the paperwork side of it. And I also do want to point out the role is called an intermediary, and there are plenty of industry partners or third party opportunities to have other intermediaries come into the fold. I will tell you that most of the time that they do charge per apprentice to do that. And because the businesses in Lakeland College's district are already taxpayers and fiscally responsible people living in our district, we don't charge anything additional for the apprenticeship services that are offered.
Tremendous, tremendous, tremendous.
Yeah, I just wanted to share good news.
Hey, bring it,
Makes me excited to say the government thing is easy for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think with that, we'll close today's presentation, today's webinar. A big thank you to Dawn and Lisa for educating us and walking us through apprenticeships and answering our questions. Some of them not some easy answers too. Have to dig into them a little bit. Appreciate Bonnie jumping in there, probably saying the best one. We'll do everything for you, and we got you, and we're here for you. Love it, love it, love it. Hope you found today's presentation informative. There again, there's going to be a recording of this up next week on the ilbusinessnavigators.com's website. That's navigators with an S. If you registered, you'll get a copy. You'll get a copy of the link to that recording and a copy of the slides as well. And so hope that you join us for future presentations. We're going to try to jump in these on a monthly basis as well. The next one for May, typically we host these the last Thursday, but that presenter can't make it on that Thursday. So we're going to do the last Wednesday, May 27th, and going to dive into hempcrete, where this is an individual that is growing hemp and converting that over into a form of concrete and actually building structures and building homes. And very much looking forward to hearing more about the merging industry there and what they're doing from an agricultural side and an industrial side as well. And so I think everybody around us, especially business and community leaders, are very mindful of how do we increase housing, residential development, and here's a potential opportunity to offset some of the costs of construction. And I'm looking forward to learning more and hearing that. There again, Wednesday, May 27th versus the Thursday, last Wednesday of the month. And then in June, we're going to have an in-person thing with Illinois Housing Development Authority, but we'll be back in July here virtually again. So hope everybody enjoyed the webinar. There again, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate you guys' partnership and hope everybody has a good rest of your day. See ya.
Thank you, Courtney.